Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of the Seacoast, where two or more gathered. We always see a crowd. I especially like to welcome all you new people on the live stream, and if anytime you feel called, please come and visit us at 246, Suite 246 at McConnell Center. We always begin with the daily word, joy. I rejoice in life's simple pleasures. Life's biggest moments, weddings, births, graduations, celebrations of all kinds are cause for joy. But joy is also found in life's simpler moments, the day-to-day happenings that compromise daily living. Joy is in the sunrise, in my morning prayer, in the familiar faces I love and look forward to seeing, and the satisfaction I get from my work. It is in my favorite things and in the sweet surprises that come from trying something new and different. Joy is in the comfort I find in my favorite spiritual practices and in finding God anew as I deepen in spiritual insight. However, a manifest joy is part of me, a way to feel the peace and power of God in my heart and deep in my soul. And from 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verse 22, they ate and drank before the Lord on that day with great joy. Joy, I rejoice in life's simple pleasures. And we always begin our day with the mission statement, and please feel free to share this along with me. We're a loving, nurturing community dedicated to be in a positive path to spiritual living, to awaken oneness with God within us all. We dedicate this year to activating the abundance and prosperity in our lives with gratitude, love, action, and connecting to the divine within us and the world around us. And we pump life into our mission statement with conversation and potluck dining immediately after the service each Sunday. Delicious food, so please join us. We broadcast live on Facebook and our YouTube channel. Visit our webpage at www.unityoftheseacoast.org. Scroll down to the links for our live services or past services on YouTube or Facebook. There is also a button which invites you to donate. The blue button welcomes your support of our community outreach and is greatly appreciated. Or if you prefer, you may mail your donation. And our mailing address is Unity of the Seacoast, McConnell Center, Suite 246, 61 Locust Street, Dover, New Hampshire, 03820. For event details, please visit our Facebook website and meetup page. The first Monday is meditation at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live, October 7th, which is tomorrow night. Next Sunday is our outdoor service at Henry Law Park at 10 o'clock till noontime. And also Poets Corner at Unity is Monday, the 21st at 6:30. Looking at horror studies. Prepare to scare and be scared. Sounds pretty exciting to me. And we always greet each other with the Sanskrit word of namaste, meaning the Christ in me sees the Christ in you, or the best in me sees the best in you. And I always say the divine in me sees and honors the divine in you. And we will now say namaste. And now we'll have another wonderful solo by Kevin. This is my favorite thing to introduce our favorite Reverend. I know we don't like a lot of flattery. But I like to talk about Reverend Tom. Because I remember Reverend Tom when he was sitting to the left with his beautiful wife, Casey, and lots of times because he was so ill, he'd have to leave. But he pushed through. Every Sunday they showed up, and sometimes he had to leave. And as the years went on, and more illness and everything came into Tom's life, he was like a cat with none lives. He'd come in a wheelchair. He'd come in crutches. Nothing stopped him. Nothing stopped Reverend Tom, and we're so grateful to him and Casey. And just, I was thinking this morning, and when I was down on my knees praying, and I was thinking, wow, how this church has been held together. And you definitely are the roots, Casey, and everyone else has been helpful too, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong with that, but he's always there, that's what I'm saying. No matter what he's going through, and most of you know he's going through right now, I just am so grateful, and I'd like to welcome him. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks, Bon. I love you. No, I have. Good morning, everyone. I'm doing a little housekeeping. How is everyone today? Kevin, was that a new flute? No, I just didn't recognize it. That was great, by the way. Thank you. So, before I start, I want to make sure everyone remembers the outdoor service is next week. We have Barbara, Ben, Diane, and Mikey. So it should be good. Couple. I'm going to sit. I am going to do my best to get it onto Facebook, to Facebook Live. I can do it with my camera. I think I have a tripod which holds the camera, and I have a battery pack so my battery won't run out. And who knows? Yeah. So if you're watching at home, folks, we're going to do our best to get it on Facebook. Should be a good time. If you're not watching at home and you're not here, then you know nothing about it. So my talk today I took from the book, it's Envisioning by Dr. Michael Beckwith, as well as a lot of information that I've read over the years and kind of incorporated in my life. And I love this topic. Because we all heard that. It's a small room that echoes. Yeah. And Tracy learned to whisper in a helicopter. So this topic helps us go from being a victim to being in the flow. This topic, in order to work, you have to use gratitude and forgiveness. And we've talked about these concepts for the past couple of weeks. But life envisioning, it goes back to when man first became aware of themselves. We gained this wisdom and became proactive in our lives. That moment of that spark within us began, and we began to interact with the divine. And we realized that we could be part of the divine. We get to work with all these wonderful laws in the universe, and we get to create the life that we want to create. And we get to see it before it unfolds and claim it as ours. We get to visualize this in our mind, what we want our life to be, what anyone wants their individual life to be. It's an easy concept, but it's really hard to commit to. We've been conditioned to think and live our life with limits, whether it's financial, owning a home, owning a new car. We have all sorts of reasons why we self-limit. And I've told you before, I used to have a poverty complex since maybe the age of 8. And I've allowed events in my life when I was younger to reaffirm that I was not worth financial success. And in fact, one of the things that changed that was Casey. When we had met and we were dating, and she had Bo, our son. Bo was from her first marriage. And being a mom, taking care of her son was the primary function or primary mission. And she had told me that she didn't think I was someone who could take care of them. And I refocused from that moment forward because I never had to think like that. I had a motorcycle, and if that was running, my life was okay. So that changed my focus and my vision in life. And so I think at this point I have a shot with her, but I'm trying. And what happens is when you change, your inner eye becomes healthy. It makes your perception of life true, for lack of a better word. I saw my perception of what my life could be with her and with Bo. At the time, and this, I don't know if this works with this story or not. I was doing stand-up comedy. I had a few years into it. I was kind of hitting my stride in it. And that was when I met Bo and Casey. And all of a sudden, comedy wasn't important. What I had pictured my life to be up to that moment is I was going to go on tour for a few years. I was going to get on TV, and I was somehow going to be a comedy writer. I didn't enjoy performing stand-up as much as I did liking, people hear my jokes. But once I got to meet Casey and Bo, none of that mattered. And I got my break. I got booked for a 46-week tour. And I had to go to St. Louis, and that would have been the first stop. And I'm sitting the night before, and I knew I wasn't going in reality because I didn't book anything. Figured I would just drive up at the last moment. But there's no way I don't want to be a part. I could be gone from them for 46 weeks. They're that much a part of my life. And so I called up and said, I am not going. And it was like one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. So your life changes when you picture your life. It evolves. And take time to allow it to evolve. I was talking about a healthy eye. Well, when your eye is healthy, you look at the world around you as healthy. And you look at all the prosperity and abundance and all the things that life can flow to you. And I always say, if you have a thought about yourself that limits you or is a negative thought, remember that is a lie. It's a lie you're telling yourself. And it's very, very clever because that lie is using your own inner voice. You recognize it as the voice that you trust. Don't trust it so much. Listen to that voice that tells you you can. You know, it's like the two images of you on each shoulder that you see in the cartoons. And, you know, the evil one's always the fun, and just get rid of that one. The fun one is the one that tells you you can do it. Listen to that voice and pick what you want your life to be. Um, you know, we're trying to move from victimhood to one who works in harmony with the universe and all that there is. Remember the movie The Secret? Anyone watch that? It left you just kind of energized, but at the same time, it didn't tell you anything. Um, yeah, I remember thinking, man, we're going to do this. We're going to, what are we doing? And it talked more about financial success, and it really limited that, you know, by calling it The Secret. It's not a secret. We talk about it every week here, folks. There is some spirit and all the principles and everything in the universe that allows us to use that to create the life that we want. We all know what we want. We all know our dreams. We all know where we want to be tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And we get to envision that. And we get to prime up our bodies by thinking of things that make us feel so much better. Before I jump into the next part of this deal is gratitude and forgiveness. You need to have gratitude for the life that you have. You need to change that flow to coming to you. When you're grateful, that flow comes to you. Take time to do that and forgive. Oh my God, I talk about this so much. But when you forgive, you drop the weight. There's a negative weight you carry around, which is keeping the flow going from you. When you forgive, you've opened yourself up again in that flow. So those two things, gratitude and forgiveness. And then there's a line that Michael Beckwith uses, which I use now and then, and everyone's heard it. This or something better. When I learned to wrap my mind around this, and I would say it, what was happening is I was getting rid of the limits because I was just opening the door to allow something better to come in, and something better comes in. It's almost never landed on this, and this is always okay, but it's always, for me, I think, landed on something better, a new way, and I get to picture those things, and I have. I mean, I've envisioned a lot in my life, and every single one happens. And this is one of the reasons why this talk is important to me, is because if it happens to me and I'm just me, it can happen for every single one of us. And I don't know what it looks like for you, but that affirmation, this or something better, is a great starting point. You know, when we first became interactive in our evolution, we have this ability, this mental ability to work with the divine and create our lives. You know, in the beginning, we made choices that we may not understand, that we were changing our evolution. You know, just using fire or beginning to farm or beginning to herd animals. But our life has been these choices, which has led us up to this moment. Everyone's envisioned new things. Years ago, you know, it was unheard of. Radio was like an amazing thing. And we trusted. Remember War of the Worlds? Um, who would have thought TV? Who would have thought we can interact with people live in Australia on our computer or anywhere in the world? I mean, these are people who thought and envisioned their life and what it could become. And for medical science, I mean, I'm alive because of medical science. Because somewhere down the road, someone had, oh, I want to make a machine that cleans your blood. Mom's going, yeah, yeah, go ahead. But because of that, I'm alive. Think of the things that people have envisioned, which has been selfless inventions, visioning a life that could be better for the world. We get to interact in our lives and in other people's lives. We get to create, and we have this understanding of how to do that, how to bring it all together. That's what we talk about each week here. And that's, we should be taken out to the world. We can envision a better world, even if it's just liking the guy who lives next door. It's always a starting point. But picture your life. Picture what it can be. I think of people who live in victimhood. You all know them. The world is tough, and we could be that at times. And then we move through these stages where we start buying into this. We start getting a little faith. And you develop the faith by thinking about where it's interacted in your life. Because it's really hard to develop faith when you have this attitude of being a victim. But when you look at the moments in your life, when life has really dealt you wonderful things, you start to let go of that victimhood and you recharge yourself. And you recharge yourself by thinking of those moments when you were completely basked in love. Maybe it was from a parent, maybe it was from a teacher or a coach. You turn in your science project and you're so proud. And people tell you you scored the goal or hit a home run or just caught the ball or for whatever reason. I mean, I can picture moments when I was basked in love. My daughter would fall asleep on my lap. My son and I used to invent the most stupidest games. One of them was knocking these stupid figures off the ottoman with a Nerf dart gun. We did it for hours. Another was we had this frisbee playing game that went on for years. We would go across the street at the parking lot and play frisbee. And we had this point system for how you caught it, how you threw it, if it could skip, if it didn't arch, if you can catch it behind our back. And it was dumb, but it was so much fun. And I also remember waking up from a coma and my blurry eyes saw Casey just sitting there. And she was there for all that time that I was in there, and that's love. So think of those moments when you vision your life. Recharge yourself. Get your body so full of love, and then picture the thing and where you want your life to go. Recharging or powering up or whatever you want to call it is such a big key. Like when you're about to pray, recharge. Think of love. Think of loving moments. Think of those times that were so important to you that it filled and changed your life. Prime the pump. Then pray. Then envision your moment. Then do your gratitude service, whatever it is you need to prime the pump before you do it. And then start picturing your life. Picture those moments when it all worked. And then you think, where do you want to go? And then take the steps. Sometimes those steps aren't clear. So you may ask for clarity, but we get to evolve because for the first part of our lives, we think in physical terms. But now we get to think in these metaphysical or spiritual terms that attract the things that we want in our life. I'm a minister here. I had no business doing this if you met me 12, 15 years ago. I still find that amazing. I still, when I fill out something, we were filling out a survey for Dartmouth, Hitchcock, and for some reason they ask your highest degree of education. And I still think to check off high school. I have a master's. But I don't think about that because it just seemed to me taking the steps. And, we can evolve to become anything we want to be. Or we can evolve to get what we want in life. And I've talked about the things that I've bought or the things that I've wanted. And those things happen for each of us. And we can bring into existence whatever we set our intention on. We have to do the work. And maybe the intention is just making ourselves better. Or maybe the intention is something more grand. Or maybe our intention is letting go of something that we need to let go of. We all have those things that we need to let go of. And it's okay. It's okay to face those demons and go, all right, I'm done with you. And it may not be a demon. Maybe it's just swearing too much. I do that at home. I do it with jokingness, but it's still not a great thing. I decided years ago that I was going to change my attitude when I drive. I wanted to be this perfect person who handled it all. So I started coming up with clever names instead of a swear. You platypus, you jackalope. And somehow those terms stuck, but I started adding the F-bomb right in front of it. So it's to do the work. I have to work on that daily. But we all get to picture our best version and take the steps. We all know what it is. If you want to be a happy person, then pick those happy moments. If you want to be taken serious, well, then start reacting in wisdom and drop the knee-jerk reaction. Whatever it is you want to be. You want to be a successful business person, then develop the mind of a successful business person. I don't know, again, what your idea of all this is, but you need to develop that attitude that you are that person and things flow to you. And you need to be thankful for what you have. And we can focus on a whole happy life and we can manifest it into our dreams or into our life. And I know this because I've done it over and over and over, and I did the work. First step I took is I asked Casey out. If I had not done that, none of this would have happened. Her first step was having a conversation with me at the worst dive bar you can find in Tampa. But it was a great place. Um, it really was. It was called the Hub, and it had a certain charm about it that you go in, and we were sitting next to each other. And we wound up talking about New Hampshire, and she at the time she was thinking of moving up to work at Ben and Jerry's, and yeah, and I thought, well, I'm on board with that. Free ice cream. But we did. We envisioned our life moving back to New Hampshire, and we had bought a house in Dade City, Florida, and we were really talking about it after her father came down, and but we didn't see it happening. And that's the great thing about it is you don't know how it happens, but you can envision it. So we had made the decision that somehow we were going to make it happen. And we kind of needed a sign, and I really needed a sign. And this guy pulls into our yard one day, and he goes, "Would you be interested in renting to own this house?" I'm like, possibly, but I didn't know, and was thinking I need a sign, and sometimes you need a 2x4 to hit you in the head. So I went inside, and a little while later, Casey's mom called and asked if we wanted to buy her house up in New Hampshire, which is the house that Casey grew up in. Oh, well, that's a pretty good sign. Someone wants to buy our house, and there's another. So we called that guy up, and we made a deal, and it turned out to be okay. And we moved up and bought her house. So we didn't know how it was going to happen, but it happened. And we get to do this all the time. I think of the green car. We knew we needed a new car. Our transmission was going, and somehow we needed to get the right vehicle for a family. So we drove to the dealership, and transmission died. We couldn't make it all the way into the dealership. Luckily, we made it in and we were able to park right at the edge, so they couldn't see it right away. Because if they had, but we met the right guy at the right time, and we got the right car. And no one else ever owned this car. It was so unique. That was so cool about it. A forest green Dodge Caravan. It was the exact same car everyone in the neighborhood had. But at the time, we thought, oh, well, this is so unique. But the great thing about it is this guy had bought it in Ohio. He was on a trip with his family, and his car died, and he had a new Cadillac coming into this place or whatever he had pre-ordered. So he went and bought this just to drive home, and then turned in at the dealership. So they gave it a heck of a price. But what we needed at the time was that to happen. And it did. And over with our box truck. The guy's last day, I needed a box truck for work, a new box truck. We went in to the dealership. I'm just trying to get information. It's the salesman's last day. And we were his last sale before he retired. And he wanted to just make a sale. But he wanted to make someone happy. We got a ridiculous deal on this box truck. And, I never expected to drive it out that night. And we drove it out. And, yeah, every time in our lives when we've needed something and we've envisioned it, it's happened. And I've gone way off script here. But I want you guys to understand, we take the steps in our lives. We envision whatever it is. If it's a bigger church, we need to envision it. If it's more in your life, you need to envision it. If it's health, you need to envision it. You need to see these moments and you need to commit to it. You need to do the work. Should Unity ever kick me out, I'm going to wind up starting a church of Tom's Church of Do the Work. Uh, because I mention that more than any other principle because it is the most important principle. And I know others would lie and they would say that one, that one, that one, that one. And they're all great, but they mean nothing until you take the steps into your dreams. And I want each of you to have incredible dreams. No matter where your life is, we get a starting point every day. And we get to reflect on how our lives, the good moments in our lives, and how they've developed. And if you don't have any, talk to people who those lives have had those moments. Learn how to do it. I mean, that is the reason I continue to read as much as I do. I remember a couple of years ago, Mikey, who does the Acoustic Circle, we had a conversation about books. And because no one buys books anymore. Well, I bought 48 this year. And but because it helps me understand, it gets my mind in the flow. Do the things that inspire you to get your mind in the flow. Take those moments to build yourself up. Because, man, it's so freaking great when things are flowing. Even in my down moments, when I've been feeling terrible, I've been in the flow. I remember the doctors coming into my office, it could have been, my hospital room, early in the morning, like 6:30, 7 o'clock, and they have no reason to come in at that point. One was a therapist, and one was a surgeon. And, after you have surgery, you hope not to keep seeing the surgeon. But each one would come in because I would make them feel better before they started their rounds. Because whenever they came in, I always talked about them. How are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on? And because I knew how I was, and so they made it a habit of starting their day by coming in and having conversations that would make them feel good before they would do their rounds. Be an inspiration to others. Always try and be in the flow. And those moments are so great and grand. I get to do this talk another time because I have like 9 pages left over. But that's visioning your life. I hope I've explained the concept without going down too many turns. But you're trying to move from being a victim to being in a flow. When you focus on those great moments in your life, where you know you're in the flow, those are moments when you're not a victim. So learn how to develop that and use those. And then take the next step to just start picturing where your life could be. And then take the next step where you're doing that little bit of work and you see the results and you think, okay, great, I'm working with it all. And then there comes a point when you take this other leap and you realize that you are in the flow. You're not just working with it all, you're part of it all. And you understand that it's coming to you. You understand that certain aspects in your life will happen, and you develop the faith. And you know how it's going to turn out. Kevin, I know you've had those moments playing music where you know how it's going to be. You're going to do this. And maybe when you start out, you're not that adept, but you get to learn that song and you know how it's going to sound. Each person has these moments in their life. Start developing faith in those moments in your life when you can use it in all aspects of your life. And when you start doing that, you see your life change and you know that you're in the flow. Thank you. And if you want to do a song, and then we'll do the meditation. And I'll save this for another time. Kevin, thank you so much. So, I want to start with the prayer for others. And our meditation after that is going to also be a little bit like that. But at any moment, all over the world, from our neighborhood to the far reaches of our planet, there are people who are struggling, who need help, who need prayer, who need love. It may be hunger, it may be oppression, it may be mental illness or physical illness, it may be spiritual. The reasons are so many. Even the most successful people go through their battles. So if you're thinking of someone, hold them in the forefront of your mind. If you know them well enough, give them a call. Just say hello. Just let them know that you're thinking of them and that they are loved. You don't have to mention their struggles. Sometimes just letting someone know they're loved changes their day. So for all those that we see in our mind, all those we can think of who need our prayer, we see them as whole. We see them in their best form. We see them as strong and healthy and wise. We see them full of wisdom. We see them with the capability to lift themselves. And we see others helping them, doing what they can to make the world a better place. And we see our own actions, thoughts, prayers, and actions in our world, and in our neighborhood, and in our family, to make it a better place. And so it is. Amen. Now, this meditation came from watching the news. The hurricane went through, Hurricane Helene went through, and just did horrendous damage in the Carolinas and in Florida and everywhere it hit. The amount of rain it dumped after the winds, after the destruction, the amount of rain and everything. So many lives were lost, and so many people are struggling. The National Guard went in, and the government approved an extra $45 million beyond its initial thing to fly in and just put generators and food and water in as many homes as possible. And I thought that was pretty amazing. I don't ever remember seeing another time when people showed up with generators at houses. They were just out of electricity and you're on your own. And it's a little thing, but it was important for people. And it's just the start of all the groups and the volunteers and that have gone there. And and it happens around the world, but this is in our country. It's in our neighborhood. We know people in Tampa. We know people in the Carolinas. We know people in all the states that it hit. So I'd like you guys to close your eyes, get comfortable, taking a deep breath, and exhale. Picture that light of love and health that resides in the center of your being. With each breath, feel that light grow. Every breath you take in, that light grows till you are a burning force. Your full body glows with light, bright, bright light. With each exhale, picture that overflowing light going to those in need. Picture your light healing and helping and affirming the health and wholeness of others. Feel that light build and build with each breath in. With each breath out, you are sending strength and love to the world. At the same time, we express gratitude to those doing the work to help the people feeding, giving health care, to people rescuing animals, to the people comforting others. Let our light land on their shoulders. Give them the strength of the work that they're doing. All right, I'm going to invite you back. I'm going to invite Bonnie to do the collections, and we'll do the prayer of tithes and offerings. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. I invite you now to also do the prayer protections. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well, and we are richly blessed. Thank you all so much. Join us for the song if we can do it.